Hello, and welcome to Those Forking Fangirls, where we talk all things nerdy book, TV, movie, pop culture fandoms, and how they integrate into our adult lives. I'm Christine.
And I'm Natasha.
And this is episode 27. And today we're going to be discussing like the top 6 love finding dating reality shows and whether we actually would ever want to be on them and if we think we could ever find love that way and which one we think like serves up the best chance of finding love and like what tweaks we would make to these reality shows that we think that would make them have a higher chance of like actually working out because so many of those couples don't work out, but some do. So, and you don't have to know the reality shows to actually like know any like to understand this discussion, and we're gonna like go through the concepts because we even a couple of them like we haven't watched, but like just we're gonna go based off the concept, and it should be fun. I'm excited.
Yeah. I'm excited too. I love dating shows.
I have grown to really have a new love for them after being cynical for so long. I finally started letting myself watch them for fun, and they're just so entertaining and an anti-anxiety for me, as I've said in the past.
Yes. You do love your dating. You love dating shows more than me now.
Well, I love the Netflix ones. To be fair, I'm pretty biased on that front. There's nothing like binging a Netflix show. I've honestly come to this conclusion lately. There's nothing more comforting than binging a show on Netflix. Every other format isn't as cozy because you have to like click out and find the next episode, and it's just not as easy or nice.
Yeah, I just have this huge rant that's just been building for weeks now about Apple.
Oh my gosh. Apple fancies themselves very cinematic. They're like, we're going to watch all the credits and we're not going to prompt you to the next one.
Well, that, and they don't even save your place in the next episode.
Oh my gosh. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. I know.
And Alex and I have just been going through like a plethora of Apple TV shows. So we're like, oh my gosh, all this great content is on here. Let's watch it. They don't market any of their shows.
No.
And then we jump from like show to show to show. And we like land in the middle of an episode, or I get a phone call in the middle of an episode, and the screen, my TV screen, like goes to the screensaver, and I lose my spot. I have to rewind or fast forward.
And
oh my gosh!
Have you found? I don't know if this also happens on the TV, but if you're watching on your computer, like I am, if you pause an Apple TV show for more than like 30 seconds, you come back to it, it won't play. It'll start to freeze. So you have to click out and come back in.
Yep. They have all this money. Nothing goes to marketing. Why don't we have a good interface?
I've been wanting to make a TikTok about this for like 2 years about all the little glitches that are specific to every streamer. I should have done it a while ago, but there's so many, and I've cataloged them because I was gonna make a video about it. All right, let's move into Snap, Crackle, pop culture news this week. Natasha, hit us with the first thing here.
Okay, so were some paparazzi photos of Blake Lively on the set of It Ends With Us.
Woo!
And I'm very concerned.
Like I'm sorry.
I don't remember the character description.
Why are you concerned?
Oh my, okay. So her outfit is terrible. It's not only just the outfit, okay? So they made her hair red, which I need to look up the character description because
I think she did maybe have red hair.
Have red hair. But it's like it's the red hair. Her makeup she looks really tired. So I don't know if this is like in between.
Yeah, you don't know when it is.
We don't know when it is. But I can't get over the outfit, okay? Because she's wearing this brown dress with these like mid-calf ankle socks, loafers, and then a t-shirt wrapped up on top of the brown dress with a short sleeve button down on it. Yeah, it's like
All
Twilight
right.
style,
Well, you have to
green
remember,
shirt.
she could be like in a really bad mental space where she's like dealing with abuse.
That's
every day.
true.
Like,
That's true.
we don't know where in the movie or in her journey at all she is. So
That's very true. I wasn't like, I'm like not concerned with everyone else, but I just think she looks terrible. And I'm like wondering what point of the film we're at in this.
Yeah, I mean, she can very likely look terrible because it's reflecting her inner space, like how she's feeling.
And I'm sure that's a way for them to tell the story. I mean, that's a way for, a lot of things to be told is through costume and hair and makeup. Like, it's such an important part of filmmaking. Katie says her hair just looked very damaged. I don't think it looked very damaged. I think she has a nice, beautiful, red wash over it. I'm not sure if that color red is my favorite on Blake, but maybe different lighting it'll look different.
Yeah, I mean, also lighting makes a huge difference on a film. Yeah. So we're seeing paparazzi pictures. You can't really tell what it's going to look like where they'll
Emily says, I always imagine Lily as folklore vibes.
Interesting.
I don't remember what I pictured her as.
Yeah, I have an idea, but I don't I'm not attached to it at all.
Yeah, I'm not attached to it either.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, that's interesting. I will have to I should probably look at it right now.
Oh, I think I saved them so I could show you. But yeah, you can look at them too from your
I can just Google it. Is it going to pop up? Oh. All right. I mean, I feel like this is just she's in a bad space.
You see them?
Yeah, this looks like, I mean, I just looks like a normal person who's having a shitty day.
Yeah. She probably threw things on to get out of the house.
Yeah, yeah. And then there's a picture with her just in the brown dress, and that does feel like folklore vibes.
I'm wondering if she took off the top pieces because she was hot and they were in the middle of filming.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. But she could have put on the top pieces so you can't see her boobs and she wants to not be noticed as much or something in the actual movie. I don't know. We'll see. I feel like it's too early to know anything there. But okay, moving on to our next little bit of news. There's just been so much Taylor Swift news all the time because of the Eras Tour. And I don't know if we can really call it news, but so much Taylor Swift stuff coming out every week because of every show. There's new celebrities there. And Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban were at one of her shows this past weekend, and they were filming themselves singing Style in her little VIP booth, which J-Law was there that night too. And behind them, you see Bo Burnham and Phoebe Bridgers making out.
Oh.
And they have not launched.
No.
But Keith Urban launched them for them. It's so funny because it kind of gives us vibes of older people being completely oblivious to the people in the video behind them. But yeah, so Phoebe Bridgers was with someone else previously, and I don't think there's been a very public breakup about it. And Bo Burnham's been married for 10 years, and I didn't know that they weren't married anymore. I guess maybe they're separated because when I Googled, as soon as I saw that, it doesn't say anything about them being separated. So it must have been quiet because he's not very public about his life. And it was just really funny to see this. Everyone was exploding about Bo Burnham, and he was just in the background of the video.
I feel like I've seen so many videos just explaining this trifecta of people and how they all intertwine. So yeah.
Yeah, and also on the Taylor Swift news this week, all 10 of her albums were on the Billboard Top 200 this week for the first time ever. Debut was at 199, and everything else was up on the list, which is so cool. Her Eras Tour is kind of like relaunching all of her albums that she's ever put out, which is so, so cool in my opinion. Here, let's see. What do you think is like the top trending one on the list? If you took a guess.
Speak Now?
No, it's Midnight's is at number 3. And then I'm surprised at this. What do you think's next?
Red, Taylor's version?
No, Lover is at number 7.
Oh.
Yeah, the Joe Lover album. And then number 12 is Folklore. Speak Now is at 21.
Oh.
And then 22 is 1989. Then it goes Red, Rep, Evermore, Fearless, and then Taylor Swift. Interesting. It's an interesting ordering. But very happy for her. That's very exciting. And that's my Taylor Swift news this week. Did you watch the new Barbie trailer?
No.
Okay, I didn't either, but I saw that there was one. So if you guys
I
want to watch
didn't see that
it.
even that there was one. Is it just like a TV spot?
I don't know.
Like
It just
trailer?
popped up. You know how YouTube just shows you stuff on your homepage? It was like Barbie trailer number 2.
Are you sure? It didn't come up on my social media.
I don't know why whenever I come up with news, you think it's not real. Meanwhile, you're like, they casted Harry Potter on TikTok. Let me see.
Are you sure that there's a new trailer?
Okay, I just saw it come up. So, yeah, Barbie teaser trailer 2. Wait. Okay. Maybe it was that was number 2, the one that we talked about, and I just was looking at the wrong thing. I think that's what it was. So the first one was considered that original thing that was just a scene. I never watched it.
Yeah,
Maybe
so
I
it was
should
just
watch
like
that now.
it was the first one was just like a teaser of the trailer.
Okay. All right, we'll delete this, Alex. Okay. All right, so let's move on into what right now. But before we do, we want to take a quick moment to thank all of y'all who are out there listening. We appreciate you being here so much. If you're not yet, we'd really appreciate it if you follow us for free on your favorite podcast listening app. That helps us out a lot and make sure you never miss an episode. And if you like to watch the visual version on YouTube, which we'll link to in the show notes if you don't know that it exists, we have a YouTube channel, youtube.com/@those4kingfangirls. You can subscribe for free, get the visual version every week. We would love it if you're watching that. If you hit the like button, that helps us out. If you left us comments, if anything, if you want to discuss anything that we talked about, if you have any feedback, we love that. If you want to support the show in other ways, it's really helpful if you leave a review on iTunes, Apple Podcasts. Apple Podcasts, or if you review the show, if you like it on Spotify, it's really easy to just rate 5 stars if you like it. I can't believe I said iTunes. I'm still reeling here. All right. And if you want to support the show in a bigger way, we have a Patreon. The link is in our show notes. It's patreon.com/@those4kingfangirls. We've got a lot of fun perks over there. Our most consistent every week perk is Those 4 King Fangirls XL. We do a 30-minute extra show every single week that you will get access to all those past Fangirl Tea Times if you become a patron right now. And we could dig into a little bit more personal stories, a little deeper topics over there. So it's a great time. That's at our Team Jacob level. And then we have 2 other tiers. Our $10 tier, we do an extra show every month. We are going to do a new moon commentary. We're recording it this week. That will be at our Team Edward tier this month. And our top tier, Team Polis Bananas, we have the opportunity to be a guest on the show. If you join that tier, you fill out a form. We take on a listener every month as a special guest. And we do fangirl bonding sessions at the end of every month, which is really nice. And we get to know everyone. And we have a little community over there. It's grand. It's
very fun.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much. We We appreciate. Thank you so much. We appreciate your support in every facet of support. Like, everything helps. So we really thank you very much. We're a listener supported show. We couldn't do it without you.
Yes.
All right. What right now? Natasha, have you been reading anything this week?
No.
No.
So many weeks of me just not reading anything.
I have started a new, I think it's a YA. It's about a senior in high school who has, she's trying to get valedictorian. She's like the overachiever of overachievers, and it's graduation day, and it's the day that they're going to announce valedictorian. She doesn't know yet because she has a rival competitor who, like, they're always battling it out for president or senior like, of everything that you can compete for, they're competing for with this. She's competing with this one student, this guy, and they like hate each other, and they text each other every morning being like, oh, I hope you have a shitty day.
Really?
Yes. And so they find out who got valedictorian right at the beginning, and of course she just misses it, and he gets it, and she's so mad. But I think that, and it's pretty clear to me as we're moving, like, that he likes her, and that she's going to realize that she also has feelings for him, and it's going to be a love to hate. And I think it's one of those books that takes place in 24 hours because they have all these senior events after graduation. And I'm excited.
Is this a YA?
So it is a YA. It's by Rachel Lynn Solomon, who does a lot of like different rom-com books. She did that one. You've probably seen the cover. It's like a podcast cover looking, when it's like talking to your ex or something, or I forget what it's called. You would recognize the cover. I've seen it everywhere. And I've been recommended this a bunch.
Oh, the X Talk.
The X Talk, yes. And like Weather Girl. She's written a lot of different like rom-com adult books, and this is a YA, but it's been a fun read so far, and I am enjoying it. I'm excited. I think Sydney recommended this to me. She has been watching my videos for a while, or I know her on Instagram. I know her everywhere. I feel like I talked to her on all the different platforms, and I've met her in real life. And she recommended it a long time ago in one of my comments, and I was like, I have to read that, and I haven't until now. Anyway, all right.
It looks really cute. I'm sorry, I was looking it up.
So I've been reading that. I'm not that far in. I'm probably at the 50-page mark if it was a real book. I've been reading it on the ebook. And Christina Lore's new book, The True Love Experiment, also came out just this week. I've already finished and had a fun time with this. But The True Love Experiment is about a reality dating show. And our lead character gets to be the lead on this dating show, and she's a romance novelist. And her name's Fizzy. You might know her from the Soulmate Equation. And it came out this week. And it's kind of in theme with what we're talking about this week. Because we're going to be discussing like what reality show we would preferably want to be on if we had to be on a dating reality show.
Well, you read that. Did you like the dating reality show premise in the book?
So I felt like I wanted more of the reality show aspect of it, and I think that's why I didn't love. I love the characters, and their romance was really fun, but I just left it being like, oh, I thought it was going to be more of the reality show, but it's more like the reality show is just happening, and
I get it
amongst everything else, yeah.
Okay,
all right.
TV shows.
What'd you watch this week?
A lot of things. I have a few things that are backed up from last week that I didn't talk about, so we'll see how much I get through. Okay, so number one, Silo, which I've been talking about like all week to Christine, but I haven't actually told her what's it about. So you have to wait. Okay, so on Apple TV, this is what started the whole thing. Alex and I are watching Ted Lasso. Before Ted Lasso, you get a bunch of like little trailers before the show, and we're like, oh, this Silo looks good. Oh, Rebecca Ferguson's in. Oh, all these people are in it. And it's a book to TV adaptation. I do remember seeing this book because it came out kind of around the time Red Rising was coming out, and Alex just blew through the Red Rising series. He hasn't read a book like that quickly in years. So he was like, "Oh, have you heard of this?" I was like, "I think I have." So it's a dystopian adult novel, and they've turned it into a series. We only have the first, I think, 4 or 5 episodes, but it's very thrilling. It's super well done. It's kind of like a big mystery because all these people, the concept is that all these people are in this thing called the silo. It's
Is it
underground.
like the 100 when they go underground? Yeah, that's what I was picturing.
Kind of like that, but they have they've been underground for hundreds of years. Like there's been probably about 4 or 5 generations of people. So the people who first went underground have absolutely like they are not there anymore, and so the people living now don't know what the world was like before they went underground.
There's no records.
There's no records. There's some the thing called like relics that people find, or there's that's kind of what starts this whole thing of like, okay, well, if we go outside, what is actually real outside. So they do have this I guess rule where if someone wants to go outside, in like the first episode you see this, they what is her name? She's from Parks and Rec. She's the best friend, Chris Pratt's wife.
Yeah.
Rashida Jones. Thank you, Nicole.
Yeah.
So she's in the first
Perkins.
episode. Yeah, Ann Perkins. She's in the first episode, and she's trying to get pregnant. And they had take this birth control out of her arm, and she only has like a year to get pregnant. So it's like coming down to the last days. She starts finding out some information. She kind of talks herself into like everything's all right outside. Like we're all being like told to stay inside when everything is perfectly normal outside. So I want to go outside. So if you say I want to go outside, you are put in a jail cell, and the next day you are pushed outside. And then everyone watches on these like these screens.
Okay, I don't know if I want to hear anymore. I want to watch it.
Okay. So anyways, that's kind of the concept. So, and then so you watch on the screen as something unfolds, and then there's a reason why people stay inside and they don't want to leave.
Obvious.
And then you're trying to figure out, and then like, anyways, so there's 4 or 5 different people we kind of follow, and then Rebecca Ferguson comes in the next episode, and it's just a big mystery, and you're trying to figure it out, like what that crap is going on, and I love it. It's like my new favorite show right now. So highly recommend.
Nice. Is there anything else you want to touch on?
Yes. Okay. So I watched Sharp Objects for the first time because Alex and I have been on this like mystery thriller kick. I've never seen it before. It's really good. I really liked it.
All right.
I don't know if you guys have you seen it?
No, I didn't know how good it was. No one ever talked about it.
Yeah.
Like, it just came out and kind of fell.
Yeah.
Well, I never heard about it.
It's by the same author. It's by Gillian Flynn, I think, who did Gone Girl. Mm-hmm. And I think it's just way darker than Gone Girl. Like Gone Girl had this kind of comedic bit about it, and this is not. This is like just very dark. And then lastly I started rewatching The Tudors. Oh, wait. Okay. I started rewatching The Tudors because we went to go see Six. And as I'm rewatching it, I realized, like, I was obsessed with the show when I was in 8th grade because it was, like, one of the first, big historical television shows that they did for TV. And it's so for the male gaze. Like, even though they made it for women, all women are just treated as, like, sexual objects. I'm, like, having a hard time rewatching it. So.
Interesting.
Yes. And quickly, another Apple TV show I just binged. This is what I've been spending all my time on, not reading. Is The Last Thing He Told Me, or Last Thing He Told Us. It's with Jennifer Gardner. It's another like mystery thriller. It's by Hello Sunshine. Really good, great binge.
Okay, it's all out.
Not yet. The last episode comes out this Friday. Or today. Oh, it's out today. I'm going to watch it.
All right. That's the last thing he told me. Natasha just talked about. Mm-hmm. All right. I have been on deadline, so I have not been watching much. I rewatched season 1 of Bridgerton because it's helpful for me to rewatch something, so I'm not very invested and I can just turn it on and off during breaks. That was a fun time. And also, Survivor is coming up on the finale, and my 3 faves have made it all the way to the end. It's been so much fun to watch this season because the cast has been fantastic, and Carolyn, Carson, and Jam Jam are my favorites, and I've been just so exciting watching them. So y'all, if you haven't watched Survivor this season, and you usually watch Survivor, but last season was so boring you felt like you didn't want to watch this season, this season is worth watching for sure. These 3 are going down in Survivor history. I have enjoyed the shit out of it. And I'm so excited for the finale. I'm so excited next week. Yeah, that's all I've watched this week. And I feel like, yeah, I didn't watch any movies that I'm going to talk about because we're running out of time here. Natasha, do you want to talk about any of these films you saw this
I
week?
watched Knights of the Zodiac. It was really bad. I went to the premiere. And then also I was in the room while Alex watched Air, and I sewed, and it was really good.
In the room.
I was sewing. My head was
Air.
It was really good. My head was down, but I listened and was watching most of it. So that's how you know a movie's good, is when I'm doing something else, when I'm actually still paying attention.
I've been wanting to watch that so bad. For all of you who don't know, that's the new Matt Damon, Ben Affleck movie, and it's about the rise of the Air Jordan sneaker, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, don't tell me anything else. I don't really want to know much. Is there
my
anything
one
else?
my one thing about Air, and there's been like a trend, is like romanticizing capitalism in a way.
Oh.
Because it's like, oh, this like
That's what
story.
we do in the United States. Who do you think we are?
I know. It's just really frustrating because like it's just this story of all these people coming together, like making a product that other people are just going to buy. They're like, you can do it because you're Michael Jordan. And I'm like, okay, yeah, this is... I don't understand, because it's like we follow this guy's story. We don't even know his fucking name. Anyways, it's frustrating, but yeah. Same thing with Tetris. Yeah, Abby. I never watched it, but Alex did, and he said the same thing.
Interesting. But yeah, I mean, that's on brand for us over here in America. All right, we're going to move on into our main discussion. But before we do, we have a quick word from our sponsor, which is, I mean, we're going to be saying what the sponsor said. All right, Those Forking Fangirls is supported by Manta Sleep. Sleep is so important, and it just gets harder as we get older. And before we started talking with Manta Sleep, I never thought about how a sleeping mask could be beneficial to getting a deeper night's sleep, but it provides a more uninterrupted, deeper, soothing sleep because it's blocking out so many of the things that can wake you up in the middle of the night. And studies have shown that using a sleep mask can improve cognitive learning and alertness, which is fantastic.
Yeah, so Manta Sleep, they're all about the pro-nap movement. And a nap is more effective than a cup of coffee for your health and for your energy levels. And what makes it easier to nap than a portable, comfortable blackout curtain complete with razor-thin Bluetooth headphones? Manta Sleep makes the world's best sleep masks. They provide 100% blackout for a deeper sleep, and they're infinitely adjustable for personalized fit. They're made of soft, breathable materials with zero pressure on your eyelids and lashes. Protect those lashes.
Natasha and I recently went on a trip to the UK where we could have really used these to block out the light. We were sharing a bed a lot of times, so it's hard to get our individual sleep noises to fall asleep in our ears, so these would have been perfect. But I was using my AirPods, and they're so painful to use through the night. Like, they hurt when you're lying on them, and then you lose them in the bed. So this is the perfect solution to that. It's made to be comfortable and give you your sleep sounds in a very soothing, sleepable way. This is the Manta Sleep Sound Mask the specific design that has the
Yes.
Bluetooth headphones, just so you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can easily connect it to your phone and play whatever sleep sounds you want. I really like to play my rain sounds, or I really, if I need it more, a deep sleep playlist. And
Mhm.
I found it really helps me when I house sit or when I have family over and there's a screaming child in the morning. No one can wake me up when I have this sleep mask on. It covers the eyes and the ears.
And it has a 20-hour battery life. It has tabs for easy speaker adjustment. And there's no audible battery notifications when it's going dead. There's nothing that's going to beep and jolt you awake in the middle of the night, which is great. It comes in this nifty bag for travel, which I really like. It keeps it nice and safe and sound when it's in your bag, which I love as a germaphobe. And it's infinitely adjustable. Infinitely adjustable for those of you who are like me and have narrow heads that everything falls off of. So if you're looking to improve your sleep quality and daily naps, you can visit the Manta Sleep website. We have a link in our notes, in our show notes below, and you can use discount Fangirl for 10% off your order. Woo! All right. Now, time for our main discussion here. We're going to talk about the top reality love dating shows and talk about if we would go on them and how we think it would turn out for us and what the pros and cons of each thing is, all that jazz. And the first on our list today is Love is Blind, which I think has become maybe like the most popular, most talked about show in the dating realm. I think we've both watched it, and it is addictive as all hell. All right. So if you don't know, the premise of Love is Blind is that there's like, I don't know if there's like 20 men and 20 women. They're all from the same city, which I think is a really good
crucial point.
Aspect of this. I think that is what gives it the foundation to work at all, because when they get off the show, everyone is from the same city. And so there's no like, oh, you live over here and we live over here. Obviously, this is never going to work. So there's like an area where all the women stay, an area where all the men stay, and there are these pods where there's like a wall in between, and you'll go on these blind dates where you talk through the wall, and you have 2 weeks basically to find someone through the wall that you like fall in love with, and they propose through the wall if you've fallen in love, and if you say yes, you get to see them for the first time after you've been engaged, all right? And then you see them and you immediately go on a trip to Mexico, or no, they don't go to Mexico anymore. It's just a trip somewhere like luxurious-ish for 2 weeks or a week. I don't know how long the trip is, but like then they test their physical connection, because you have this very emotional connection that you made through the wall, but you've never actually seen them. So it's to see if there's physical chemistry. And then if you make it through that without breaking up, you live together for 2 more weeks, because I feel like it's in total a month or like a month and a half. It's not very long.
They're like, I've known each other for 28 days.
Yes. And then if you make it through living together, you go to the altar and you either say yes or no to getting married.
Yeah.
And it is a whirlwind, and it is so compelling and fascinating to watch, because like some of these relationships are like, this is never going to work. Some of them you're like, wow, I can't believe like they're perfect for each other. You know, it's, and some of them are so up in the air. So that's what really keeps you watching.
There's so many like wild success stories too. Like,
well, per season, at least 2 couples get married.
And those couples who do get, like, it's usually the first couple that they show are the strongest couple. The strongest, and are like actually meant to be with each other. Like, it's so fun to watch that unfold, and like to see them falling in love for each other, and you're just like, oh my god, these people are perfect. Like, what the frick?
Yeah. And I mean, I can see how that can happen if all they're doing all day is talking through these walls.
Yeah.
Like, it's a completely different environment than our usual like dating situation. So it's hard to compare and contrast. Like when they go home and they all meet each other's parents, they're like, how did this happen? And it's like, well, it's something that it's not normal. It's an experiment.
Yeah. And like you don't have any line into the outside world. You don't have your phones. You're just hanging out with the other
isolated
gender in the other or other sex on the other side of the pods. And it's like all you're doing is thinking about the person and what you're going to talk about next.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's very weird. Like if you picture yourself actually being in the situation, if you went on the show, do you think you could find love?
I think so. I love talking to people.
I do too. I feel like, so what scares me about it though is the like not seeing each other thing. And then if you see each other and you don't have, and the rejection of that, or like God forbid you don't feel attracted to them and then you feel like a piece of shit. Cause also you've already made this really emotional bond, but like it does take both things.
And that happened, like it didn't happen until this season where there was like a girl who rejected the guy.
Well, there has been, but like there hasn't been anyone as dickish about it until this season.
That's true.
Yeah, it definitely happens.
Yeah, I would love to do it because like me as a plus size woman, I don't think there's no representation at all for us on these dating shows. So like I've never seen myself like in this body fall in love with someone on a reality dating show. And they've had a few plus size women. Like last season they had
they did.
And she did fall in love. But she's like not my size, but I love her. I can't remember her name, but I
love
follow
her
her
too.
on social
Alexa,
media.
is
Oh
it?
yeah, Alexa.
Or, yeah.
And I just wish we saw more of that, like on the show. But like that's the show where I would feel like the most comfortable being on.
I feel like I would get super anxious on any of these shows.
I mean, yeah, probably.
Yeah. But I would want to try it because I do feel like it does work sometimes. And it would be really interesting. But I feel like what would happen for me is if I did find someone, we'd get out and then it would be weird and it wouldn't work out and it would be devastating.
Yeah. You just have to be at that point where you're like, I just really want to get married.
Yeah, well, that's also the thing, like, especially if you get out and you're not sure, it's like you have to get married or you have to, like, drop it. Because a lot of times, if these people get to the altar and they don't say yes, but they still want to continue dating, it's really traumatic to get to the altar and be rejected. So it's hard to come back from that. They'd have to make the decision before, together, probably, to, like, not do it. And it's also really hard to know if something's going to work without living together for an extended period of time. 2 weeks is nothing.
Yeah.
Like, you can do that with anyone. Even a month. Like, you can live with someone for a month and not really know them. You have to, like, give it 6 months, I feel like.
I mean, that's crazy because there's so many people in my life who literally just did not live together with their partner before getting married. Like my parents were a prime example. And like the fact that they got married within even a year of knowing each other, like, hell no. Why is that so different now?
Yeah, your parents were a little older, so they knew more about themselves.
They were my age right now.
I mean, yeah, but a lot of people of our parents' age were married by 23. So they were a little older. You know, you change a lot between 23 and 29, 28.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, so that's a completely different mindset.
True.
But yeah, still young, but definitely older than like getting married right at the beginning of your 20s. So Yeah, on this show, though, anytime there's a guy that's like 26, 25, like, I want to get married so bad. I'm like, I don't believe you at all. And then they come home and their house is like a bed with a sheet on the edge of it and no frame.
And didn't flush their toilet.
There's shit all over the place. It's like, you are a youth. Like, you are not ready for this.
Wait,
at all.
Winston, right? That's his name, who was on season 3?
I don't know. I don't think his name's Winston. I know who you're talking about. The guy who was like kind of a dick to the woman he was with.
No.
And she had some insecurity issues. So you're not talking about him.
No, the one who like didn't show up to her like wedding dress fitting.
Oh. Wait, it wasn't the girl who didn't show up to her wedding dress fitting?
Marshall and Jackie. Thank you,
Jackie
Katie.
Was the one that was an
Yeah, I'm
there.
trying to reference Marshall.
Marshall
is he's young. He's about 26, 27, I think.
He seems so wise, though.
Yeah.
And Jackie was not ready for him.
No. Yet she is still with that guy.
The other guy. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. But anyway, I'm talking about, that was season 4. In season 3, there was a couple, and the guy was really immature. A lot of those guys are really immature. Like, they are not ready.
What's the point of bringing them on the show then?
Cole. That's his name. Yes, Katie. Cole. Oh, God, Cole. Yeah. So, yeah, they bring these people on the show that, like, say they're super ready to get married. And I think these people were from Texas. So, and I think maybe they were really religious. So they were, like, ready to get married earlier because they wanted to have, they had a different mindset, I feel like. And he wasn't actually ready, though. Like, he still was a very youth person who didn't take care of, like, anything in their lives like an adult does. But anyway, yeah, did you change anything about the show to make it have a higher success rate?
I mean, maybe, well, I maybe just a bit more time. I guess.
I mean, what I like about Love is Blind also is that they're not bringing on, like, people who look like models. They're bringing on, like, people. Like, you know, everyone's just, like, a person from that city. They're not, like, when in LA, when you see them cast, like, Too Hot to Handle. Like, everyone on there's a fucking model. Like,
yeah.
And it just doesn't feel realistic at all. And then on Love is Blind, like, everyone is just, like, a person that you could meet. And it's not, like, a super unrealistic situations where they're, like, all these super, super hot people.
I think that's my favorite thing about, because that was probably the first show that I watched where it wasn't, like, someone was just on there to become an influencer. And, like, why they're on the show, like, their intentions are real and true. Because I've been in like the Bachelor world for so long, and I've worked with so many of these people. So
yeah, Katie says I feel like the cast is unusually conventionally attractive. I don't know. I feel like they're all attractive. I just don't think that they're, like, living in LA and seeing these actors all the time. Like, they're not that level of, like, perfection that, like, makes you insecure, you know?
And it's interesting when they go on the, like, after show, or there's, like, the after like season 3, they had, like, so many episodes afterwards, and they obviously hired hair and makeup for the women, and they look hot. Like,
they look so good at the after show because they've just watched themselves do their own thing. I feel like for months not months on the show, for every time they're on the show, and they're like, oh God, I need to change this makeup.
It's like, sorry. No, it's really fun to see them, like, be LA-ified.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like they just look like real people. I'm not saying that they look ugly. I don't want that to be what I'm saying. They look like real people, and here everyone looks airbrushed. Like, I'm not joking.
Well, not only that, it's like everyone that if every photo is edited. You know, every photo that we see on social media is through the lens of the person who's curating it for us.
Yes.
And that can still be, you know, even if there's like photos from the red carpet, like usually there's some person who goes in and then edits those people. So anyways, yeah. So Sophia said Bliss with like a heart face.
I love Bliss.
I love Bliss
much. I feel like
she's
Bliss
gorgeous.
was also like, I feel like us in a lot of ways. Like she was making him read books. Like Red Rising was on the couch because I'm sure she told him to read it.
That was insane to see. Like it was a flashback to their time, and I remember seeing it. I was like, "What? That's Red Rising on the couch? We could be friends."
I know. I love Bliss. All right. Katie says, "How do we feel about the serenading on the show?" There was some serenading on Love Is Blind this season, and it hurt me.
I can't.
Well, the good one. Okay, there was a decent one, but then there was the really terrible one of Bliss's match, and that hurt me. I was like, please stop, please stop, because he just keeps going and it's not good singing.
No, I don't. I think the effort is there.
It's cute for a second, but like on TV, it's like, stop.
But I don't think I would even like to be serenaded myself unless
it depends. If it was like at a concert and like it was a really good singer, but like one-on-one, I don't know. At least the other guy had a guitar. Yeah. All right. I think we should move on to The Bachelor.
Yeah.
You ready? All right. So the next top one here is The Bachelor. So I think we both agree that like Love Is Blind, I think we would do that one if we had the opportunity, because it seems it's just really interesting, and I kind of believe in it when it works. Like,
yeah, I'm a sucker.
Yeah, I'd love to hear everyone else's thoughts. Like, if you're watching or listening, like, would you go on Love Is Blind? I feel like most people might give it a go. It's kind of like, what do you have to lose? But once you're in the situation at the altar, I guess you have a lot to lose.
That seems like the scariest part.
That is the scariest part of it, yes.
Or like some people's families won't even come to meet the person that they're marrying.
I feel like that's terrible. Like,
that is terrible. They're like, I don't believe in this. Just
do it. Like, it's not a big deal for you to support them in that moment. At the ripe age of 24, Katie says probably not. Yeah, I feel like you like Natasha said, you have to be ready. If you're ready to find a marriage partner, that's when you go on Love Is Blind. Yeah, immediate marriage is really scary. So it would have to be like, it would have to feel like kismet. It would have to feel like perfect, I feel like, for me to say yes at the altar.
Yeah.
All right. The Bachelor. So I think most of us know what The Bachelor is. But basically, there's one guy and there's like, 30 women trying to win his affections. And then some of them get dates and they give out roses for the ones that they want to keep, and they eliminate some every week. Right? Is that it?
Yeah, that's it.
I've watched one season of The Bachelor.
I've watched many. But I think the first season I did watch was with Christine, which was Nick Viall.
It was. That's my first and only season.
And then after that, I was hooked. I tried to watch stuff before that season because all my friends from like hometown, we would get together when we were like in our early 20s and watch it. And it is fun as like a community show to watch with people, because there is some drama. Like, they don't usually lie when they say the most dramatic season yet. Like, there can be some shockers that happen. I think The Bachelor has hit its peak. It's definitely more of a like, who can be the best influencer, but even then, like, people are just like not interested anymore. Like the peak of it was probably like 2018, 2019, like, and that's about it.
I mean, I feel like it was really big when it started.
Oh, it was really big. Like, yeah, I think everyone's just kind of over it now.
Yeah.
They had some controversies. They're not making a lot of new changes.
Yep. I would not want to go on The Bachelor. I think I would be the most anxious bunny of all time, and I would hate like competing for a guy's affection with so many other women. And like, I just don't want to deal with that at all. No.
I would go on The Bachelor, but not for reasons for love.
Well, that's what this is the question. It's not for influencer reasons, all right?
I would go on to be a character. Like, I would have fun, and I would love to get dressed up.
I would do that too, but this is for
That's
love.
True. Oh, no. I don't think it works most of the time. And like, I just don't understand how people can like really form like attachments and like real relationships if they're barely hanging out for like maybe like a few hours here and there.
I just don't know how you can trust someone or like learn to build trust in a situation where you're literally like competing with other people and they're seeing a million other people and have to consider a million other people all the time. Like it's almost like they either have to lie to you or tell you like really uncomfortable truths all the time, and that cannot foster a like deep connection easily at all. Like,
no,
that fosters an environment of anxiety.
The fact
and fear.
that if you are picked and then you go home and watch the whole season and you see everything that goes down, and then you're like, oh, well, you didn't tell me this, and you didn't tell me that,
and there's such a power imbalance in that situation.
Like, oh, you slept with her, or you did, or you told her that, like, ooh,
yes, that sounds horrible, like absolutely horrible for like trying to actually find love. Cheyenne says, would you be the Bachelorette? And I feel like I would also be so anxious and so uncomfortable in that position as well. Like to actually find a connection. Like because also you can't trust any of those guys. I feel like they're all just out to like be like the your person, lying to you in every which way to be your perfect person so that they can get more airtime on television.
Yeah. So I've read 2 books now where like the dating show aspect for like a plus size girl. I did read One to Watch, which actually was really good, and I was like, oh my gosh, I could do this, like this is me, because she's like an influencer, and then like they make her the Bachelorette, and I was like, oh my, but then reading it and then understanding like every nuance that like the person goes through, and I'm like, oh, okay, maybe not. And then Julie Murphy had a book, why am I forgetting the name of it? But it was like a Cinderella retelling. So it was kind of like the selection. If the shoe fits. And that was really cute too. But I don't know. I wouldn't do either of them.
Yeah. It's like when it comes to like this actually working, I feel like this is a very, very low chance.
I think The Bachelor was made not for people to find love. It was made so that we could see people competing with each other and all the shenanigans that go along with it. And it was made for good TV, and they have successfully made it that way.
They haven't evolved to like keep it interesting.
No, they have not. Everything is the same.
Honestly, like I would watch it if I was entertained, but like a lot of it I'm bored. Like they don't show any interesting conversation, and I don't know if it's because it's too personal when it gets interesting, or if like these people just talk about surface level nothing all the time. But like a lot of these reality shows, you'll see them discussing like nothing a lot.
Yeah.
And it's
or
just,
they're
like,
sitting in front of a plate of food that hasn't been eaten, just so that they can share the most I don't know, secretive or part, because they usually shares like a big truth when they have one of those like date night things. It's just,
but it doesn't feel like a discussion. It feels like here's a flashback to my life. That sort of a thing.
Yes. And they even then, it's like girls are like, I just want his time. I just need to go steal him. I haven't got any time. And it's
that's
so
every minute on The Bachelor.
It is every minute. And what I I don't understand. It's like they're like, oh, I don't have any time tonight. I'm like, well, girl, if you don't have any time tonight, then obviously you weren't important. Or that's the thing. It's like, why haven't, like, if this was really about love, then they would make time for every girl.
Yeah. I mean, okay, so Amy says Bachelor in Paradise is way more entertaining than the regular show. And I agree. And I actually think that one's more upfront about this being like a hookup kind of dating situation and not like a let me find my person definitely situation.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that it's just more honest about what it is. And that's part of what makes it more entertaining.
Yeah. I think so. I love Bachelor in Paradise. I always get sad when I miss it because I feel like I need to know the cast of characters because I didn't watch the previous seasons, and that way I can actually
feel like you're
cheer for the people,
yeah,
who actually who I want to see get together. And it's interesting to see like which people do get together.
Yeah.
And there's actually a lot more success on Bachelor in Paradise. It's probably because there's more couples that happen than just like
less
one.
Pressure on like one person. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Also, yeah, it's just like more fun because they're having more fun. They're not as stressed out, I feel like, constantly like you are on The Bachelor. And that's part of why I really enjoyed Perfect Match, which is kind of like The Bachelor in Paradise for all of the reality TV on Netflix. And all the characters coming in, and it's kind of feels like more of a game than finding your perfect match. And I love a game, and I love like knowing that it's a game because I would for sure want to do that, but like because it's like a game.
Yeah.
And like if you find love along the way, that's fun, but it's not like The Bachelor where it's like compete for this one man's affection and then like it'll be fake at the end,
So what do you think like you would change to make The Bachelor better or more comfortable for you?
I feel like all the girls not all living together.
Yeah.
And
less girls.
I feel like maybe like a couple guys. I know they did a couple women. And I didn't watch that. Yeah, and that's a couple.
It was weird.
That was weird. I don't like it all focused on one guy. I feel like that is so it's promoting like all the worst instincts in women. And like also again shining like I can't think of words right now because I'm like so anxious just imagining myself on the show. I'm trying to be like, what would make me more comfortable? Not doing it. Maybe if like everyone had like a team from home, like if you got to bring a person with you to be like your rock and like maybe like talk to them and maybe they have meetings with them to be your in-between. Maybe if there was like, I don't know, like someone there on your side that you could go to instead of being like locked in a room with all these women that are trying to compete for the same person you are. And you never know if you can like talk to them about your feelings and if what their motives are. That feels really hard.
Yeah. Well, also I think like everyone should have one-on-one dates and not just like every week.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, you're the lucky one. Like, I think everyone should go on a date, have it, like, be equal.
Yeah. They don't do that. I forgot. Like,
No.
people just get chosen by The Bachelor, right?
No, they have, like, group dates. And then it's just, that's, like, the fun, like, game part of it. But then they're competing, and they're like, oh, I'm going to make the, like, I'm going to get hurt. And then that way I can talk to him more.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
My favorite ever was like the Bachelor Olympics one because it had more of a game aspect because they were doing Olympic games to win different dates and stuff. And that also has more people. I think also like just more people, more like love interests. So there's less stress on one person.
The Bachelors.
The Bachelors or just like the single people. Okay, what about you? Is there something that they could do to make you feel more comfortable with The Bachelor? Yeah.
I think have someone who's bigger than a size 4 on the show.
More
Like,
diversity and
more
size.
diversity. They haven't had like a Latino or a Latina. They haven't had an Asian bachelor. They haven't had any of that stuff. They've had there's just
a white guy.
a white guy and one black guy. And then like for the bachelorette, they do have a new, like, she's black and she's going to be the bachelorette this year.
Nice.
But that's only the second woman. And the fact that like it took Black Lives Matter for them to be like, oh yeah, maybe we should have a black guy on it. What?
Yeah. There's a lot of problems with The Bachelor.
It's one of the least progressive shows on television. And then that's why it's so popular, because there's so many people who are comfortable watching it, and that's why they won't change it, because it's like it's something for
it's fading because they don't change
it.
Like,
exactly.
It's popular with like a crowd that's older? Like, I don't know. I don't know. Anyway. Okay. Let's move on. Let's move on to Love Island. So this one I haven't watched, but Natasha loves. So I'm going to let you talk about Love Island.
Okay. So Love Island, I binge watched this. This one takes itself not seriously at all. Okay. So it's just a house full of single people. And we have about five single women, 5 single guys, and they're all hot. They're all like, it started in the UK. So my favorite version is definitely the UK. It's the most fun. Like, the culture is very different and interesting if you're from the United States. And it's on every single night. I don't know if I told you that last night, Christine. So
every single night?
Every single night. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Monday through Friday. And it's like on for about 2 hours.
What?
Yeah. I think about an hour to 2 hours sometimes. And so they'll have 5 girls, and then they'll all stand in a line, and then each guy will come in, and then they will decide if they want to couple up with that person. So if one of the girls finds the guy attractive, she'll step forward, and then they'll go together. If there's 2 girls that step forward, he gets to pick that girl. If there's no one that steps forward, he gets put off to the side until like everyone's kind of coupled up, and then there's like 2 girls who are like one, the guy and the girl are left. And so everyone has to be in a couple to be able to win. And they all have these like phones where you get text messages, you can go on little dates, and then they bring people in to mess up like the odds. So if there's like an extra girl, an extra guy, like they'll try to couple up with people in that week and try to steal people and be like, oh wait, I think I find this guy more attractive than I do
that's
this.
Kind of like Perfect Match too.
Yeah. And then they'll have like little games. The games aren't for any competition purposes. It's just for like flirting purposes and getting to know people better.
Yeah.
And then they all sleep in this. So if you're if you're in a couple, you get to sleep in this, and you have to sleep in the same bed with that person unless you don't want to. Like, there are circumstances. What?
But you said that they also all sleep in the same room?
They all sleep in the same room, in the same beds.
So what? Are they having sex in those beds ever?
There are. Yes, sometimes that happens.
Oh my God, ew. In a
So
room
they'll
with
have-
everyone?
So, like, they'll have cameras and, like,
ew.
that's what makes it like so like, oh, spicy. They'll have cameras and night vision, and like you'll start seeing, like, especially in the UK, they'll just show that stuff too. Like, they don't have the type of rating systems that we do. And so like you'll see some stuff, but they also do have a room where I think it's called the Bang Bang room or something that you can go into where you will have privacy, but they'll still show things.
Oh my God. So the description I got off the internet says to remain in luxury paradise and stand a chance of winning the 50,000 pound prize. Sorry, 50 pounds. You get $50 for being on the show. The 50,000 pound prize. Contestants must couple up and win the hearts of each other and the public as they ultimately decide who stays on Love Island. So does that mean that the public votes for who gets the prize?
Yeah, so you can vote, I think each week. I think that's how it works. I can't remember exactly. But I do know the $50,000 prize or £50,000 prize, you can either... So if you and your couple make it to the very end and you win because the public votes for you and you're like, oh my gosh, we won. So you can split that 50-50. Or you can be like, I don't want to be with that person anymore. And then you take the entire $50,000 prize.
So it's kind of like the Fuckboy Island show a little bit.
Yeah.
Where you can just take the money. Interesting. Yeah, I don't know if I'd want to be on Love Island.
No.
It's like not exciting enough in terms of the game aspect.
The thing that makes Love Island fun is the culture that we get to watch, because it's not the type of like BBC Downton Abbey people that we're used to in the UK. These are like people from all around the country who have like so many different like accents and different words that they use, and they like to use the word mug a lot.
What does that mean?
It's just fun to watch them interact because they're very different.
Okay, I tried to watch this show. I watched one almost episode and I just got so bored.
It does get boring. It does. I'm not gonna, yeah.
And I just was like, I don't want to watch them. Also, they all were, I don't know. Maybe I didn't get to know them enough, but they all just seemed like very superficially in how they were presented.
Very.
So I wasn't taken in, but a lot of people love Love Island, so
we like it for its face value. Like, it's not about finding love, it's about like the hookup culture and like the shenanigans that go on, and like these people are usually good looking.
Yeah, I guess it just doesn't have a competitive enough like game part of it that I'm like, ooh, who's gonna win?
Yeah. It's not that. Yeah.
And I think that's what kept me like very engaged in like Perfect Match. I was like, oh, they're going to play a game together. Who's going to be better as a couple? Okay, so let's move on to our last one we're going to discuss today, Married at First Sight. I think this is so interesting because I haven't watched Married at First Sight. I've just heard people talk about it for a really long time. And so I read the blurb here. So based on the hit Danish format, Married at First Sight features people who agree to participate in an extreme experiment. I also love an experiment on a show. I feel like I have to watch this now because that's what Love is Blind is, an experiment. I love that. So each contestant, each covenants. What is covenants? Okay, so everyone says that they will legally marry a complete stranger, and specialists, including a spiritualist, a relationship coach, and a sociologist, use scientific matchmaking methods to determine each couple who have not met or had contact with each other until the wedding day. And then the series documents the relationships, including honeymoons and other relatable events of married life. And after several weeks, each couple must decide whether they remain together or go their individual ways. So I guess like that means get an annulment or a divorce.
Yeah.
That's really dramatic. Like, I wouldn't want to be on this show. I feel like because it's
this is like you're actually getting married. Like you have to say yes. You're gonna do it. Yeah, and then you're kind of forced into it, and then you figure out if you like really want to be married after you're married.
Yes. That's horrifying, but sounds so entertaining. Like, I could see why people love this show.
I want to watch it now.
Yeah, me too. And I love the scientific aspect of it because I'd really be interested to see how that pans out. Well, Katie, like, it's also like an arranged marriage. Like, and a lot of like cultures do arranged marriages and they work out. And I've watched have you watched Indian Matchmaking?
I haven't, no.
that show's really interesting too, seeing how the matchmaker works and like seeing how many successful marriages she's put together. And so, I mean, it definitely works. And especially when you're doing all this research and you know what makes what makes a successful relationship from just like scientifically watching it happen over and over again as like a matchmaker. So,
well, I also think I think you need to be a little old, maybe not a little older because people get married like when they're really young. But I think marriage is not just based on love. Like it is based on whether these two people can actually have a sustainable life together, and whether like their ticks are going to work for each other, you know, if their checks and balances, and like you can be in love with,
their lives are actually compatible.
You can, I think like finding someone who you actually are compatible with is more important, and then I think love will come along in those instances.
But of course, the dream is to have both.
Yes, of course. And like, what if that person does come along after I've had, you know, I've been in this marriage, but I don't know.
If married at first sight, I still wouldn't want to do it, but like, it would like make me more comfortable if it was like you're getting married tomorrow and you meet them today, so that you have at least the day to be like, I don't think this will ever work. But I still don't want to do it. But it kind of reminds me of, I just binged Queen Charlotte. Oh my God, I forgot to say that. I loved it. But like, she meets him just before they get married. And in that moment, it's kind of like a yes or no situation for her in her mind, even though it's like she doesn't really have a say. But just having that would make it a little bit more comfortable than just being like, okay, we're here to say your vows.
Like, how weird is that? It's like you're just walking down the aisle. You've never met this person before. And then you're like, okay, yes, I do. Here's a ring. Let's kiss. And
so much trust in these matchmakers.
And then you have to spend the whole night together.
Well, you don't have to. No, you don't have to have sex.
No, not at all. But I mean, like, that's so vulnerable.
Yes.
If you're in the same room, like even, you know, bathing or changing, and then like like sleeping in the same bed.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, the thing with this show, just like Love is Blind, but even more, you have to be like in a very like, I want to have a partner headspace, and like at the end of your rope, like I'm ready for someone to just put it together for me. I feel like you have to be in a very specific place in your life.
Yeah, almost desperate.
So based on this discussion, I feel like we're both like, if we had to pick one, Love is Blind is going to be it. Yeah, because at least you can say no before you get to the altar. At least you can get out of it. And there's no divorce needed here. All right. Well, we're going to move on to Marry Kiss Cliff.
Okay, it's my turn. Okay, this is a very Six-based. We saw Six. I don't know if people know what Six is about. This was my Christmas gift, and it is a Broadway show. What? From Christine, yes.
Yeah.
About the 6 wives of Henry VIII. And I have been obsessed with like this history, like this like family line. I love British history and British monarchs. Since the Tudors came out, like I mentioned, I was in 8th grade. And so yeah, we have Anne Boleyn, who is his second wife, and who was my favorite on the show because she was played by Natalie Dormer, and I was such a huge girl crush on Natalie Dormer. She's just my favorite person to look at. She's so interesting. King Henry VIII and Henry Cavill, just because.
Well, I'm definitely murdering King Henry VIII, like right off the bat.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think I am going to kiss Anne Boleyn and marry Henry Cavill. I feel like I don't know Anne at all. Like I haven't watched The Tudors. So to me, she's just like that lady in the painting with the green outfit.
And the bee. She has the bee necklace on. Which they didn't have in the show. It's a very famous necklace that she made popular. It's like a pearl. Okay. Yes, I would love to behead Henry VIII because I think he's a douchebag.
Yes.
How did the song go? It was like
I'm Henry VIII.
No.
I am. Okay.
No.
Which song are you talking about?
It was like died, beheaded.
Oh. It was.
Oh no, divorced,
beheaded.
Died,
divorced,
beheaded,
survived. Yes, I listened to it a bunch of times this week.
I need to put it on. I haven't put it on yet.
Divorced, beheaded. It's very much like Chicago, like pop, six, squish.
Yes. I love the costumes too. Okay, well, I guess I'm going with the same options as Christine. I really didn't make this that hard. Okay, so Anne Boleyn, I'm going to give it a kiss. And then Henry Cavill, of course I'm marrying Henry. It's my ultimate dream.
And then you're murdering King Henry. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're going to move into chapter chat. We've been rereading A Court of Thorns and Roses this entire podcast. And we've reached chapter 38 and 39. They were big chapters this week. And we're going to dive right in. Natasha, which of these chapters do you want to take?
I mean, I feel like we're going to be talking through most of them. I'll go with the first one.
All right.
I'm so excited to read this. I forgot a lot of this. Okay.
I forgot all of this.
Yeah. I have a lot of questions. Okay, so chapter 38, we start off with Feyre. She's cleaning the floor. And she's...
Can we just clarify that she's cleaning the floor with a brush just to clean this whole hallway, and they gave her dirty water.
Yeah.
So as she's cleaning it, it's getting dirtier. And they say if she doesn't finish it by supper time, they're going to put her on a spit and turn it twice over the fire. So,
and technically no one's allowed to touch her, so so I don't know.
Well, that's not until later. What do you mean?
Well, they're like warning her with all these warnings, but like no one, like she can't be killed in the meantime unless, right?
Well, yeah, but she might not get killed doing it. They might just burn her skin to a crisp as she's like infected.
You're right. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, so she's contemplating life as she's cleaned these floors with the dirty water, and she's also creeped out by her new tattoo on her arm, and she's like, "What's this eye? What?" So she's like creeped out by it. And so she's cleaning the floor, and then someone approaches, and someone with red hair, and she's like, "Oh, it's Lucian." He's visiting me. She got really excited to see Lucian, who she thought was visiting her. And I'm like, if Lucian was visiting me after I just made this deal with this creepy eye tattoo on my arm, I would not be excited. I would be fucking pissed. It wasn't Lucian, it was his mother.
It wasn't Lucian. She's excited because she's alone and she has no friends.
That's
so
true.
any semblance of a friend is an improvement from her life at the moment.
So yeah, it's just so Lucian's mom comes in. She's like, thank you for what she's like. Thanks him for for saving her son, right?
Yes, and she pays her debt by cleaning the water so
What?
she can actually clean the hallway. Like,
That's
my debt is repaid.
nothing.
Is that worth a life?
That is not worth a life.
Excuse me?
I just
She's like,
magicked your water. Now it's
I
clean.
know. And she smells good.
She smells like chestnuts or something.
Yeah. And I was like, this family doesn't know kindness at all. Like, they think kindness is in transactions, and they don't have any regard for life, I feel like.
So I don't know if this was the next day or the same day, but then she's thrown into this room for someone that she has no idea who's the
It's the
occupant
next
of.
day. It's the next day.
And she's told to sort all the lentils from the ash. And it's
In the fireplace.
in the fireplace.
Like,
And,
you're just like, if you just say that, like, what do you mean lentils from ash? Like, there's a fireplace, and she's told to clean it out, all the lentils in the fireplace.
First of all, why are all the lentils in the fireplace? I know she asked this
Nobody
question later.
knows. Rysand does not know. It's his room.
It is Reese's room.
And he's like, why were there lentils in my fireplace? Someone came and chucked them in there just so she could clean them.
Well, I want to know why she was even thrown into the room with Rhysand. I got really excited. I was like, oh, it's Rhysand's room. And it was the first time he called her Feyre darling.
It was our first Feyre darling, indeed. I think that they were thrown in that she was thrown in there because they think he's like using her and torturing her, and like he's not so much.
Yes, so then Feyre starts an investigation about why he plays his games, or why he didn't like reveal that he knew exactly what Feyre looked like. And so we got a little bit of truth coming from him. He says that he plays his games when he asked about her identity, because Amarantha also plays her games. And so that wasn't really like an omission, but and he likes to poke Amarantha.
And she finds out because she's like, wow, did she not take your powers away? And he's like, this is just a drop of my powers. And she's like, oh shit.
Yeah.
He must be really powerful.
Yeah.
She's like, can you shapeshift? And he's like, yes, I can shapeshift. And then he shows her that he can grow wings and talons.
Yeah, and that his legs, I forgot. I was like, because a lot of the fan art is just of the wings, but he can shapeshift into an entirely different animal, but he chooses not to. He likes to keep some of his fae outward. And like his legs get dark, and then there's talons in his toes and his hands, and then on the wings as well. He also does, she asked him about like the head on the stake and why he was at a fire night, and he was like, well, Amarantha told me to do that, and I had my own reasons for being out at fire night.
Yeah, and she asks him, or she thinks about asking him to help her with the riddle, and he says that she's ordered us not to help you, and we couldn't if we tried.
Well, then how are they able to, like, how is he able to heal her?
Because he hasn't been directly ordered against it. Like, I feel like it's like a gag order. Like, they can't say it. That's what it feels like to me with the riddle.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay, yeah, and then he just cleans her up.
He cleans her up with magic, snaps his fingers, and then the lentils are all in the bucket.
Yeah. I'm like, okay, if you could do that easily, why were you in the room?
Well, he just wanted to talk to her.
I know. So then, like, he pushes her out the room, and he forces the guards to not bother her with chores, so she doesn't do any more chores throughout the whole month of each next task. And if anyone touches her, then they are ordered to kill themselves. Yeah,
so he controls all their minds and makes it so that they also start giving her nice hot meals. That's nice. And she just keeps thinking about the riddle, and she can't fiddle it out. She can't fiddle it out. She can't figure it out. But then in the next chapter, these two shadow maids of the night court come and take Feyre from her room, and they can walk through walls with her. So they just walk her right through the walls, and they give her a bath, and then they paint her entire body from head to toe. This. Yeah, I know. And I don't know if I'm remembering this wrong already. Do they paint her like blue? And they also paint the whorls that are like match her tattoo all over her.
Yeah, it's like a blue-black ink.
Yeah, and when he touches it, it like comes back into itself. Like it doesn't destroy the paint, but if anyone else touches her, it leaves a mark so that he knows if anyone touches her. And he says he does it because he's going to bring her to the party tonight. And they get to the party, and he wants to do it, he says, to like annoy Tamlin, because that's his favorite pastime. But I think he's also doing this because him being the one that's, quote, torturing her is entertaining Aramantha, and so that Aramantha doesn't get bored and torture her in very, very cruel, more terrible ways. I think he thinks that this is like the lesser of two evils, is him being the person who does things to her, because he's not going to violate her to the extent that they will. Yeah. So he basically has her drink the wine every night, which basically knocks her out, so she doesn't really have to live through all the shit at each of these parties where he's just making her dance for him. Mostly that's what it sounds like. And so Katie just said he also has to put on the villain act to keep Valaris' secret. Yes. Yeah, he's protecting the night court, but he's also, I think, trying to protect Feyre from further extreme measures of torture and harm, because every night now he has her drink the wine and does the same thing where she dances for him. And like Lucien comes to visit her after this first night, and she's like, what happened? And he's like, I don't think you want to know. You danced all night for him. And it's like, as far as torture goes, like it could have been much worse. So
she is like, Lucien does say, he's like, I don't need to see any more of you, because she is wearing these like two white or like gauzy
strips over her nipples is what it sounds like
down like her crotch and just like over her butt. So she just she's not covered whatsoever.
Very naked. Yeah. And what I do remember is the scene where they were kind of putting on a facade that this was still their relationship in Akamath, because that was like a very sexy scene.
That was a very sexy scene.
I don't remember this where she had to do this every night, and it was like the lesser of a million different evils, I guess, in Rysand's mind. It still felt very weird. But okay, so Lucien comes to visit her, and it's been like, I feel like a while since she's been healed now. And he's like, what were you thinking? You don't think I would have come to you the second I could? Like, you saved my life by telling that name. I appreciate that, blah, 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 blah. But like, then she's like, yeah, I'm sorry you got lashed for helping me in the arena. He's like, yeah, I couldn't walk till today. So,
like, oh, really? Okay,
so she would have fucking died. You dumb bitch. I can't with Lucien.
Yeah, and so the whole time, by the way, like Feyre's being paraded around in this gauzy, painted on dramaticness of looking like a slave queen. Tamlin again is doing nothing, and my notes are like, Tamlin only grips the throne. Tamlin still does nothing. And then Lucien explains that he's trying not to show anything because he doesn't want Amarantha to know which forms of torment mess with him the most when it comes to Feyre. So that's why he does nothing.
Yeah, Tamlin has become a statue in the distance. He's just like an angry eyeball who doesn't do anything about anything. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. If I were her, I would feel very like abandoned.
Yeah. Very
in this
abandoned.
situation.
Mm-hmm.
And like, yeah, I mean, Rysand is at least trying to do something. Like he has a little plan, it feels like. But I don't know. Both like not great situations for love interests.
No.
In this book. It feels very weird.
I remember reading this like when I first read it, and then I'm just like, what the crap? I don't understand what's happening. Like, I was just frustrated. I also like, I didn't like Rysand because I thought he was evil. And
I didn't like anybody, which is why I don't
No.
remember any of this. Like, because it just kind of put it out of my head.
and
Katie says it's giving Leia in her bikini.
yeah,
It is.
that's exactly what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I think Katie said, yeah, the spring court is very virginal and the night court is a touch more sex positive. So showing skin bothers them more.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that feels accurate.
Mhm.
So that was chapter 39 and 38.
No, it's not. You did not finish it out.
What?
Okay, so they have multiple nights of the same dress. And
I know,
like,
I said that.
yeah, okay. I was thinking like because she's up all night and sleeps all day, like she just is not remembering anything from this point. So I think
'cause of the
this is a
drugs.
way for Rysand to, or like giving her a way out instead of,
Yeah.
because in the beginning of the chapter she's like she's like talking to the tattoo. So this whole time he has his like eye on her and
Yep.
Yeah,
So
so
the eye blinks. Like,
the eye
it
blinks.
moves.
And then at one point she asks him about his court.
Oh, I forgot about this.
Yeah,
He
and
feels
so
his emotions.
sadness. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And like she's like, "What is that?" And then looks to the tattoo. And then for the last time we see in this month, so they go to the throne room. Rysand is summoned. Everyone's looking at him, and he's like, "Stick with me, stick close to me." And because Lucian's brother starts towards her because he's about to go up to the throne, and he's like, no, stay with me. And there's the summer court, I think, son or youngling or something, kneeling in front of Amarantha, and she's like, he just tried to escape. Figure out what's going on or why he did that. So Rysand, goes into his mind. He holds back the real truth, which is what we assume, because the Feyre was observing, and we see that the High Lord of the Summer Court looks really relieved. And she's like, shatter his mind, but he ends up just killing him.
He just kills him
for the mercy.
Yeah.
And then as they make their way over to the table to drink more wine for her to dance, people are whispering or whispering whore to Rysand, and other people are giving him accolades. So
yeah. It's all very dark. Like there's no light in this situation. Like you don't feel like there's a light at the end of the tunnel. It just feels like there's no way out unless someone helps her, which I don't like.
Yeah. I don't remember how this all goes down.
No, I don't either. I'm like, when is it? So it ends where she's like about to do the second task. He's like, so don't drink the wine tonight. You have your second task tomorrow, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see. This was one of the longest chapters yet, for sure.
Multiple acts within the chapter. I'm trying to see how many chapters we have left. So we have chapters 40 through 46. So that's only what, 3 more?
Mm-hmm.
1, 2, 3. Well,
Math.
we'll have to put like 3 in the last.
In one of them. Yeah. But we're getting to the end. I don't know if we're gonna do Akamath next. We were thinking about either like maybe doing a rewatch of like the Vampire Diaries or something. But I do want to read Akamath now.
I know. I'm like, if we don't do it, I'm just gonna go ahead and read it.
I
again.
know. So should we do Akamath? Maybe we should put it on the Patreon and have everyone vote. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I do think if we rewatch Vampire Diaries, that's a big commitment and like possibly something we want to do as like an extra episode.
Yeah. So I think that if we did that, it would be like a separate episode every week, but like we could record it at the same time.
We'll see.
We'll have to discuss. But I do want to read Akamef now, so I don't know. All right. Well, that's going to wrap up this week's episode. In Fangirl Tea Time today, we are discussing if there's ever been a time that you weren't super happy with your bestie's partner and how you dealt with that, because it's a delicate situation. So if you if you want access to that and you don't have it yet, you can become a patron. The link is in the show notes. Our podcast is edited by Alex Polis and Jake Needham. The music is by Cole Jenkins and with vocals by Heather Troska. We release episodes every Friday. Thank you so much for hanging out with us today. I'm Christine.
I'm Natasha.
And we will see you next week. Goodbye.
Bye.